Here we go, Chapter 9, the denouement? Denouement? Do not know how to say that.
Detective, you have spent more time making us sit and wait for you than anything else.
Shut your mouth.
Madame Vandenbosch, if you think I have spent my time focused on anything besides uncovering the Major's killer, you are sorely mistaken.
I'm sure you will be eager to share your findings with us then.
All in good time, Madame. Firstly, to understand the truth of what has occurred this weekend, one must know the timeline of events that not only preceded the Major's death, but succeeded.
We are all well aware of what happened before, Detective. You can save your breath.
You are only aware of what the guilty parties wanted you to believe. But now I shall apprise you to the true events. The reason for us all being here, you know. The altercation between Monsieur Demire and the Major, you know. The body of Monsieur Hagen was found while we were all sat enjoying a most delicious meal. That you also know.
Those graphics, though.
But what was kept from us all was that his body lay on the study floor for far longer than was thought.
It was that servant. She found him.
S'il te plaît, monsieur.
Shut the
It
fuck
was
up,
indeed
mister.
your finger that
That's
found
what he
the
said.
Major's body lying lifeless in the study.
So it was her.
Monsieur, I will not allow for any further interruptions. I return to the Major's body. If we are to believe the scene that we were presented with, the Major must have been killed during the first course of our meal, a meal that none of you left, even for a moment. Speaking in the evening, you all confirmed one another's alibis, and although there was doubt in the validity of some, I confirmed that they were indeed all true. What I could not understand was how a man came to be found dead, and every guest accounted for at the time of death. That is until I questioned the latter. Monsieur Beckers, I shall now allow you to speak. You saw the Major smoking a cigar in the snow. Is that true?
It is.
And making snow angels.
You saw what you were meant to see. Someone in the Major's coat standing outside, giving the illusion that the Major was still very much alive. Monsieur da Silva, on the afternoon of the Major's death, do you recall hearing a telephone ring?
Now that you mention it, I have not heard a single ring all weekend.
Correct. The telephone lines have been down for the duration of our stay, meaning the telephone call that was received and promptly directed to the Major's study was yet another act of trickery and deceit. But it did not end there. When I entered the study for the first time, it was obvious someone had already been there and falsified the scene to stage a burglary and clear away important evidence, including the murder weapon. What followed was an investigation that had already been hindered. But even those lengths were not enough to derail me for long.
I think we have all had enough of your self-praise, Detective. Perhaps you would like to tell us who killed him now?
Madame, as I'm sure you would expect, it is not as simple as that. What many of you do not know is the discussion that was had between the Major and Monsieur Beckers earlier that day.
What has that got to do with anything? I told you I didn't kill him.
That I know to be true. What you do not know is that it was not only his ears that heard your spoken words.
I hope you are not implying I had something to do with it.
No, Madame, there was another.
Nine things about you, Cassandra. Shut your mouth.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth. You are all aware that the Major was hired by Monsieur da Silva to front the security during the workers' strikes. What very few of you know is that it was the Major's order that instigated the vicious attacks on those unarmed men and resulted in numerous deaths, including Mademoiselle Elizabeth's fiancé, Luc. Monsieur Beckers confronted the Major, declaring that he was to hand himself in. That is what Mademoiselle Elizabeth overheard. Now, knowing the truth, she waited until the Major was away from his study. After he stepped outside, following the confrontation with Monsieur Demire's fist, it looked to be the perfect opportunity, or so she thought. The Major returned, and found her looking for the proof she required to hand him over to the authorities.
Snitches get stitches.
If the maid bumped him off, why hasn't she been arrested?
The events that followed in the study are not those of a cold-blooded murder, but one of a young girl that had no other option but to protect her own life.
Sounds to me, detective, like you have taken a shine to this young girl and would rather protest her innocence than arrest her for murder, the crime she has committed.
Bitch, no one's talking to you, Jackie.
This is gonna make for a juicy story.
Mademoiselle, I ask you this. You have seen the Major's anger before, oui?
What if I have?
How do you think he would have reacted if someone was to find proof that he had committed a terrible act, and that if made public, would surely result in his incarceration? Exactement.
It is quite the story you have told, detective. But all I have heard is that Elizabeth overheard a conversation blaming the Major for her fiancé's death, and she murdered him in revenge. A servant killing a man that is as revered as he was. She will face the noose.
Shut up,
I am
Cassandra.
not denying that a man has lost his life, but it is not the crime of murder that you all believe. While the Major did not deserve to die in such a way, it was his actions towards Mademoiselle Elizabeth that drove her to defend herself in any way she could. Mademoiselle Elizabeth will be punished, but we will let the law decide the severity of her punishment.
She has played you like a fiddle, detective. Acting the innocent victim. She will be arrested and hanged for her crime, like every other cold-blooded killer.
Here.
Give her what she deserves.
The girl has got to pay for what she's done.
Jeez.
Those of you that are calling for the hanging of Mademoiselle Elizabeth, have you forgotten the roles you played? Your actions have been far from innocent.
Look, detective, I see where you are going with this, but it's not going to work. So maybe the strikes were down to De Silva and Beckers. But don't try and drag me into their mistakes.
Mademoiselle Conrad,
You don't need to imply it's only me that does. Ask any of my journalists.
even if in the process people are hurt, you knew the situation surrounding the strikes and only sought to swell the anger in people and create further chaos. Mademoiselle, you so often have something to say, and now is not the time for silence.
Yeah, you talkative bitch.
You... Look,
Mademoiselle, I do not have time for your excuses.
it's not... Okay, fine. Yes, the story was going nowhere. There was a deal on the table. And it was finally done and
Journalists.
dusted.
Disgusting.
Everything you said is true. I wanted the story. I didn't think you had this side in you. I can see now why Angeline asked for you personally. You're not like other cops. It's clear it's the law and doing the right thing through and through with you. If you say it was self-defense, I believe you.
We can't just forget what that girl has done.
Monsieur Beckers, we talked only last night, and correct me if I am wrong.
Yes, we talked. It's just not fair of you to attack Jackie like that. Putting words in... Detective, I'm afraid it was not my intention for things to escalate as they did. I could not have predicted that would happen. Jackie was documenting everything to do with the strikes. She wanted our story to be heard and wanted to know...
And they were handed...
No, it wasn't.
This is not a tale that has been created.
Not... You're right, Detective. I have tried so hard to deny my part, but I know only...
I'm good at these, but nothing else.
Of those men. I know I cannot excuse what I've done. Monsieur Da Silva offered me a deal. I turned it down. I thought I was doing right by the workers.
What more proof do you need? He said
It was not that. An offer was made.
this is outrageous. Do you plan on blaming everyone for doing their jobs? It may be a big deal to you, but I am you. When you're in charge, if you said it, anonymous.
Monsieur da Silva,
Do you really think this is the first time?
have you not learned enough already from having your factories closed? If you have any hope to return to normality.
I may have been a little harsh with my staff. I was never given the opportunities that they have today, and I succeeded.
1800s were rough.
All they do is demand. I offered what I could. Swallowing one's pride is no easy feat. But if it means that a young girl will receive their judgment, I am prepared to do it.
They would like burn her at the stake. She is a witch. Chop her head off, and now they're like, oh no, poor girl.
For your honesty.
What now, detective? Even after all your attempts, detective, Felix was still murdered.
It was not choice to hide anything, madame.
But I wouldn't have driven a knife into him, that I can tell you for sure. She is no...
That's because he was giving you that good dick, Cassandra. That's why you wouldn't kill him.
Quite presumptuous of you to assume violence is in his nature.
Putting my own feelings towards the Major aside. So,
I'm sure that is none of my business.
the Major shot and killed a number of unarmed prisoners as they were bound and terrified, posing no threat. His actions are unforgivable.
You judge him so harshly, but I return the question. You do not know what
S'il te plaît, madame. I asked.
my friend has been murdered in cold blood, and you have the gall to ask me to save. I will see to it that your superior Elizabeth will hang.
I knew that you had a cold heart, but never would I have expected to. She may have been the one that held the knife, but look at the monster that stood before her. It could not be clearer the type of man. No, I shall refrain from offending men everywhere. The type of creature that he was.
You get him, Margot.
He bribed, he extorted, he murdered. And yet when he attacks a young girl and she does us a favor and stops him for good, she is punished.
I'm sorry, Margot, but I am struggling to understand.
Because that girl does not deserve your judgment. You should be ashamed of yourself. You all should be for allowing this to happen.
Comtesse, I have talked at length. When I last gathered you all together, I spoke of a blackmail ring. Mademoiselle Angeline requested my help personally after she...
Get on with it, detective. Who dare try and exploit my family and then
This
have
is gonna
the
be
gall
good.
to allow me to welcome them into my home?
If it was not for the honesty of a...
For goodness sake, it was me.
Margot, how could you?
While it looked as though the Comtesse was helping the young women at the shelter, she was in fact only finding them positions of employment in wealthy homes to gather information on them and learn secrets that she would ultimately be able to use against them.
Like Mrs. Peacock or Mrs. White, something.
Monsieur da Silva fell victim to her network of moles and was in turn blackmailed. It was quite the prosperous setup you had, knowing that they would not be prepared to loot.
That cannot be true, Margot.
That is rich, coming from you.
You are one of my own.
High and mighty Madame Vandenbosch. You think you can do what you wish when you wish it and there will be no repercussions. You are as bad as all of them.
If I do not get a straight answer out of you, I will march you to the police station myself.
I'm surprised it took the Major this long to start living with you. He must have been on the edge for some time.
How speak to me like that. In my own home.
A home you share with the father of your daughter for so many years, and she still remains none the wiser.
You have no right.
Oh shit, here we go.
Maman,
Angeline, have you heard what she has admitted to? She is merely trying to make herself...
Is what she says true? Philip, he was my father? That is the secret that the letter was talking about, isn't it? You told me that we had nothing to hide. Detective Poirot, were you aware of this?
Oui, mademoiselle. But it was not my place to repeat.
I don't understand. What about father?
Wasn't your father,
your
girl?
maman betrayed the love of a good, honest man and played away behind his back and then kept it hidden for all these years like a lady of the night with her client list.
Oh, she called her a hoe.
Angeline, I...
Did Felix know?
Did he know?
This is not an appropriate conversation.
He knew, dear girl. He knew the whole time. It is only dear Edwin that was blind to their deceit.
Aww.
You will not talk of him like that.
He died
You
thinking
will
that
not talk of him
she
at
was
all.
his.
If I don't...
He's in heaven somewhere, pissed right now.
You never deserved him. You don't even deserve the memory of him.
Comtesse, there is something that you still have not explained.
What more is there for her to say?
How long were you in love with the Viscount for?
Oh,
Margot, is that true?
We were destined to be together. And then you turned up. And I was all but forgotten about.
But you were nothing more than friends.
And you made sure of that, didn't you? From the day you arrived, it was all about what you wanted and what you had to do to get it. You didn't consider Edwin at all. He was just a purse to you.
ooh, a leather handbag, girl.
My husband. And I miss him every day.
Loved him enough to stray.
Both of you, no more.
Please, Angeline, let me explain.
It's getting
Maman,
heated.
I do not wish to hear anything else from you.
Not even your own daughter wants to hear your lies anymore. Cassandra Vandenbosch, all alone.
How dare you!
While I feel a sense of satisfaction and pride in solving both cases, there is still a part of me that is reluctant to revel in triumph. I am content with the unmasking of Comtesse de Vos as the blackmailer, and knowing that she will pay for her crimes. But it is the justice for Mademoiselle Elizabeth that worries me. She will stand in a court of law, and I can only hope that they can see she acted in self-defense. I must trust that our legal system and justice will prevail, and a fair sentencing will be given.
No, it's the 30s and 40s. I'm not sure about
Protecting her own
that.
life, she took the life of another. Perhaps the guilt she must live with is a greater punishment than any sentence she can receive. Comtesse de Vos was taken from the Mosine house in cuffs and placed under arrest. Although she initially tried to plead her innocence, Inga, along with a number of other girls that the Comtesse had found employment for, came forward and made full statements.
Damn.
She was charged with 5 counts of blackmail and extortion and sent to a house of corrections, where she will have a new life to become accustomed to.
Oh shit.
Monsieur Starling and Mademoiselle Rihanna were also reprimanded for their participation. While they may not be facing time in prison, tampering with a crime scene and obstruction of a police investigation are certainly not something that houses and new employers will look positively on.
Aww.
Mademoiselle Angeline finally became Madame Demire, and together they took up residence in England, where Monsieur Demire continues to support and fight for fairness and equality in London. I am happy to say that we have remained in contact, and Madame Demire has become a regular correspondent of mine. And the latest joyous news is that they are expecting a child of their own.
Aww.
After Madame Van den Bosch's secret was revealed to the world, her position in the social hierarchy was no more, disappearing in a moment. While she still resides in Belgium, I believe she has had to adapt to a far more modest way of life. A humbling experience for her, I am sure. Madame Demire has not mentioned her maman in a single letter. After the discovery of her real father and how she had been lied to for so many years, her departure from Belgium was somewhat an act of separation from her maman.
Take that,
Mademoiselle
bitch.
Conrad left Nemozinet House the same way she entered, confident in herself and audacious in her opinions. Her report of the Major's murder at the house and the surrounding blackmails became one of the most talked about stories of the year. While there were certain details of her own involvement that did not make it to print, she was really quite complimentary about the detective at the heart of the case. Monsieur da Silva tried to continue in his position as factory owner and business entrepreneur, but after his accounts and business dealings were investigated following the details of his blackmail being made public in Mademoiselle Conrad's article, his illustrious business empire began to crumble and is now facing an international corporate investigation. Monsieur Becker stepped down from his position as union leader, accepting that he was no longer fit to represent the workforce that, in his words, he had let down on a scale of unmeasurable proportion. Although he is no longer the voice of the workers, he continues to support them from behind the scenes. Monsieur Zachariah and his brother made amends, and returning to his family home, and after sobering up, he was able to find the help that he required. I understand that he is now helping fellow soldiers with similar conditions. And Mademoiselle Elizabeth. She stood before a court and was found guilty of second-degree murder.
What the?
She was sentenced to time in a female correctional house on the outskirts of the city. Alone in a foreign country with no friends or family for support, it will certainly be a hard life for her there.
Jeez.
Her mental and physical strength will surely be tested to their limits. But she could not go unpunished. Without repercussions, we would become a society of animals.
It's self-defense, dude. Oh my gosh. As for me, I am
The
handsome.
death of Elizabeth's beloved Luc has been at the center of everything.
Oh, he's hot. Wow.
Had those in positions to help not acted with only themselves in mind, perhaps he would still be alive today, and the Major would have paid the price for his own crimes in the eyes of the law, not at the blade of a knife. The blood of Major Felix Egan will remain on Elizabeth's hands. A stain that wherever she is and whatever she may do, she will never be able to wash clean. However, it will remain as a reminder to not only her, but all of us, of what we as human beings are capable of to protect ourselves. We all have something that may be considered shameful or sinful, and it is how we deal with it that shows our true character. Those involved in the riots, the workers' deaths, and the Major's killing believed themselves to be untouchable. Whether it was from their social standing or their confidence in themselves, they learned that everyone is accountable for their actions. There is no exemption because of the suit you wear or the money in your bank account. There is no price to a man's life. It cannot be bought or traded or discarded. No man is better than another, including Detective Hercule Poirot.
Well, that was depressing. What the hell was that? This is kind of like Clue, where everyone killed someone, or, you know, everyone was involved somehow, and they all went to prison, or most of them either went to prison, or they were alone, or they can't find a job, so they'll probably be destitute. Wow. That is really sad. What a sad game. I'm glad it's in the fall near Halloween, where it can be sad. Oh my gosh. Alright, so that's it for Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot's The First Cases. thank you so much for joining me for this miraculous adventure, even though Hercule fucked up both of them and they were both negatively solved. Like, I mean, they were solved, but like the endings are just, that sucks. Anyways, this has been the Gaming Gaff. Thank you so much for supporting me. I do have some more Let's Plays coming out probably the end of September, early October, depending when I can finish and upload everything of this Let's Play. So stay tuned for that. You can follow my Twitter, Instagram, etc. I do post updates and stuff on there, so stay tuned for my next Let's Play. Thank you so much, and I will see everyone later. Have a great night.